this bad boy comes all the way from Japan.
Woo! Oh my goodness! This interior looks very desirable.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Hello everyone. Yes, as you can see, I'm all sporty again because the Honda Civic was always one of the most sportiest C-segment cars in the automotive industry. That's right. When it comes to the C-segment, the Honda Civic was actually one of the most reputed globally speaking, and including the EU market. Although there's something very interesting I'm going to remark to you all briefly. The thing I want to remark is Honda has had a dormant reputation for quite a while, throughout the 2010s, I'd say. But then recently it climbed up again, and it's all thanks to the Honda Civic, the Honda Jazz, and the Honda CR-V. Now, the Honda Civic has been one of Honda's most promising model and most desirable model, and in fact desirable to a point it even started a stereotype in certain parts of the world. Here in Belgium, briefly, the Civic did have a stereotype, and I'm not going to say what the stereotype is, but I'm just going to give you a hint. Usually driven by a group of people who tend to drive very slowly, much to the annoyance of the traffic. Now, on the topic of the Honda Civic, there's some very interesting observations I made, guys. See, many C-segment cars tend to maintain an identity. They tend to have a theme, and they tend to stick to it religiously. So this has been the case with European competitors, like the Volkswagen Golf in particular. But in the case of the Honda Civic, the Civic has had a reputation for having very different designs for each and every generation, if you know what I'm saying, guys. So the next generation would look very different to what you saw in the last generation, guys. It's always different. There's always changes, guys. And this comes to a point where Honda, when it comes to identity, for a long time they had a reputation for being quite generic. They were not really cars that you could identify. But the point I'm trying to say here, guys, is that usually each and every generation of the Honda Civic tends to be very different. Now, something interesting happened, guys. This is the 11th generation Honda Civic, and this is, I think, the first time Honda has kind of played it evolutionary. Right, everyone, this Honda Civic costs 36,000 euros. Is this good value for money or not? We're gonna find out in a moment, everyone. Let's get down with this review right now. But before doing so, I just want to remark to you all that Honda was born in Japan, but it's thanks to the North American market, Honda expanded. They grew because of crossover SUVs and the famous Honda Civic, guys. And it started since very long time, actually. In fact, they grew in the North American market faster than they did here in the European market. So what we can already establish is that I'm going to expect some American influence throughout this car somewhere. I'm not going to be surprised if there's some American influence. And then I'm also going to expect a lot of also the reason why they grew in the North American market is because they were reliable and better value for money. Well, actually, when it comes to Honda, it was reliability that was their trump card, I'd say, compared to Toyota and other Japanese car manufacturers. Over here is a 2-liter petrol engine with 107 kilowatts. Very desirable, very powerful, guys, and this is a true Honda, believe it or not. Oh, and another fun fact of the day, you get reliability which is guaranteed because this bad boy comes all the way from Japan. That's right, it's made in Japan. What? Didn't you know that? I mean, the last Civic was actually, well, for the EU market, the last Civic was actually built in England in a plant called Swindon plant, the Swindon Honda plant. Now, I don't know what is the veracity of this information, but now Honda has shifted plans. They now have it built in Japan for the EU market, the Honda Civic. So, looks like we're getting guaranteed reliability this time.
Is it just me, or do I always find Honda engines appealing to look at? I don't know why, guys. It's just something really appealing to look at because you get to admire the reliability, you get to admire the details. And in fact, I don't know why, but out of all the Japanese brands, I find Honda to be this type that really likes to specialize in details. maybe it's just me, guys. I mean, all Japanese brands are reliable. I read a source that actually stated that this car is built in Japan. So now I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I'm imagining things, but I feel like I see more details right here, you know? It just seems to be very precise.
This was a bit funny because usually whenever I review cars, I never talk about engines. It's very rare I touch the topic of engines. But this is the first time I find a lot of appreciation looking at an engine. Very good, Honda. Actually, Honda really did a good job here. That's good.
Over here is the exterior design of the Honda Civic, guys. The 11th generation Honda Civic. Yes, that's right. So it's very interesting what I see over here. It's now when it comes to this new generation, I had the same feeling you're all probably thinking. The front looks like a facelift. So it's quite interesting what's going on at the front. I was initially thinking it's a facelift, but actually the differences start to emerge. The entire front is like a mask. It's kind of the same thing they did with the Honda Jazz. So what you get is this hard plastic that directly connects with the lights, and then it connects with the grille. And this has to be the first time I see a parking sensor right above, right here. Like usually the parking sensor is here. Okay, that's very interesting what I'm seeing, but hey, why not? By the way, the front is stylish and quite desirable. I like what they've done with it. And then you get lightings down there and another sensor over here. Although for a second I thought this was an air vent. Okay. Now I just want to take a moment and admire the color. I think the color theme of this Honda Civic is really good. It's really nice and it pairs well with the theme actually. I really like it. You see, you get this hard plastic down there, then this white paint. You get black alloys right here. By the way, I love the design of those 5-spoke black alloys. They look really nice and they look very desirable and they pair very well with the Honda Civic theme, guys. Now this is the side view of the Honda Civic. It looks very similar to the last generation. That's why I actually mistook this for a facelift. But differences start to emerge. Let's move towards the rear, guys. Over here, it looks as though Honda maintained a very straight line. I don't know if it's just me, but something seems very direct about this area. I did not notice this about the last generation, or maybe I did not pay enough attention. One of the two, guys. But whatever it is, it looks like a teardrop shape I see, and it looks really good. Over here, things get very interesting, guys. There's a very strong sign of identity at the rear of this Honda Civic. I don't know if it's just me, but it strongly reminds me of something between a Jazz and an Accord. Like, it reminds me of the Honda Jazz of the 2010s, the early 2010s. So I had a similar rear light for the Jazz like this. And then it kind of reminds me of the Honda Accord because there was an EU spec Honda Accord. So many of you guys are aware of the North American spec Honda Accord. But then here in the EU market, there was an EU spec Honda Accord and it had similar rear lights like this before Honda decided it was necessary to discontinue it. I'm also going to point out something very important to you all. You see how those lights are continuous? It's connected by this red light over here, this lining. Yes, many of you will be thinking this is Honda basically following the trend of European brands where the rear lights are always connected by these, by a black line or the rear light itself, like something red. You see the red lights? But actually, this is not the case. This is actually a sign of identity because Honda had this with several generations ago. There was a Honda Civic with this rear light, and I'm saying several because I actually don't know which generation, but I'm going to give you guys a thought. It's somewhere in the late 2000s and in the early 2010s. There was a Honda Civic with rear lights that were connected. Now, whilst exploring the exterior of this Honda Civic, I also noticed some questionable aspects. The first questionable aspect I would like to point out, guys, is that usually the Japanese are known for their precision. The Japanese manufacturers, they are known for their precision, guys. But on the case of this Honda Civic, I noticed some things that were not really precise. So, take the bonnet, for example. Something about the bonnet doesn't look very aligned. Like, for example, here there's a big difference. Like, this side of near the A-pillar looks very much above the bonnet. The bonnet looks below its level. Look, there's a lack of alignment between these two. Then, as for the front right here, guys, this piece, which is just above the lights, is somewhat not aligned with this part of the side of the Honda Civic. Look at this. They're not aligned. There's a lack of alignment here. Despite the sporty theme of this Honda Civic, why exactly do you get what looks like fake exhausts right here? Like, what's the purpose of this area exactly? It looks appealing aesthetically, but wouldn't it be nicer if it had a purpose? I don't know if this is questionable or just debatable, guys, but for some reason, you get only parking sensors at the front and at the rear, but there's no parking camera at the front. You only get parking cameras at the rear. So this directly means no 360 degree parking camera for a price of 36,000 euros. Well, I feel like Honda has been already generous enough to give us a car which is quite sporty, and this is a plug-in hybrid, so I guess this... I guess there's a lot of compensation, guys, and besides, this is just a C-segment car, so I guess parking should not be a problem, and especially since you have parking sensors at the front. Now it's time to explore the interior of this Honda Civic. Now, before doing so, I just want to point out something about the door handle. The door handle is very pleasant. I really am impressed with what Honda has done. I don't really quite like the idea of this whole thing being pulled, you know, like this whole thing moves when you open the door. But then again, each and every manufacturer has their own ways, but what's pleasant is the feel, and I like how it's a bit downwards here in the middle, so it's nice to hold on to, guys. Here, now it's time to look at the interior. All right, everyone, over here is the interior of the Honda Civic. Woo! Oh my goodness, this interior looks very desirable. This interior looks very desirable. I love it.
Wow. Guys, this has to be the first time I've ever seen the interior of a Japanese car that's actually very desirable. Something that's not expensive and yet very desirable. Now, many of you would have thought that the only desirable Japanese cars are the expensive ones, like the Lexus and the Nissan GTR, for which you guys are correct, but Honda has actually done something groundbreaking. Like, this has to be the first time I see an interior with a lot of details invested into it. Wow. And I'm saying this because usually Japanese car manufacturers, when they do budget cars, it's all round edge, it's all hard plastic, and it's all, you know, just... Well, I know Toyota likes to put things at random location because, you know, hey, reliability is what matters. But Honda actually cares. Like, Honda actually puts a lot of detail. And I'm going to show you all what I'm talking about right now. Okay, guys, I love this part. That's why I'm going to cover my favorite part later. First, let me just cover the seats. The seats are very nice. They're quite sporty, simple, and very reliable to live with. And I say reliable because this sort of leather is durable and it will last long. It'll not get worn away in long terms or anything. My favorite part, guys, all right here. Alrighty, guys. So, well, we can establish that Honda has gone a bit retro about the interior. So it's a bit classic. It reminds me of the Honda E, and that Honda E is based on the first generation Honda Civic. So yes, in some senses, the interior is supposed to remind you of the first generation Honda Civic, and it is over here. This is kind of like a facelift version of the last generation. Like right here, facelift. Over here, first generation identity. These are air vents, guys. Look at it. I just love those. This is all over again like the 70s and 60s. I remember Rolls-Royces used to have this, and in fact I think Rolls-Royce still has those. But Honda is the only mass market brand to have this. How cool is that? And look at those grill right here. This honeycomb-like shape. Wow. I wonder what's with the honeycomb shape though. Oh well, it's still desirable nonetheless. And then over here, surrounded by the piano black trim, it pairs very well together, guys. So over here, you get your climate control, everyone. Very nice. Oh, heated mirrors. Wow. That's really, really premium. I like that. And then also, speaking of mirrors, you get blind spot monitoring. Just something I thought I'd mention on the side. Anyways, climate control over here. And then over here, you get your 12-volt socket and your USB points. Wow. And you get your wireless recharge for your telephone. Then over here you get this carbon fiber effect. Well, it's not carbon fiber, but it looks like an imitation of carbon fiber, but actually it's just plastic which has a certain form on it. Look at this. Very interesting. And then over here you get your gear selection. Now, over the past few years, Honda has developed an obsession with buttons. So it's all with buttons, which is good, creative. But something I have to get used to seeing. Otherwise, you get driving mode and your handbrake right here. Driving mode, you are epic. Another nice air vent right here, and then you get your window controls and your mirror controls. A lot of nice details, guys, and I love the number of details invested on the buttons. Look at this, nice touch, not boring to look at, quite appealing, guys. Very, very nice. Center lock button, and then look at the presentation of the door. And then over here is the steering wheel. Oh, by the way, you guys get heated steering wheel, so that's another plus. That's really, really good. I'm impressed. I really am. And I love the feel of the steering wheel. By the way, the leather on the steering wheel is quite pleasant. It's so over here you get a leather wrapped steering wheel, and it's quite nice to feel. Let me just feel it, guys. Okay, so it's leather wrapped and it's quite squidgy on the side, so it has this pleasant feel, and you get to feel the grip, you know, it's like you can actually feel the steering wheel. Really nice, guys. It's quite pleasant. And I'm pointing this out because there are some competitors that offer leather wrapped steering wheels, but that don't really feel all that interesting to hold on to, if you know what I mean. There's no button implying heated seats. So what I'm just going to assume is perhaps it's optional, or the car has to be in action and there will be a light or somewhere on the infotainment system that will point out that you can heat up the seats. Or perhaps ventilated seats as well. Depends. And speaking of infotainment system, over here is your infotainment system. Looks very much alike the previous generation. And then over here is your digital instruments cluster, guys. And then above, guys, you get a panoramic sunroof. Wow! Wow! This is so good! And then some storage space for your sunglasses. Very, very nice. I like it over here, guys. Everything has a purpose. Wow! Wow, I'm very impressed. No, really, I'm being serious, guys. Now we still have to cover practicality. So let's see, guys. Central console storage. Now Honda, the last generation Civic was very good with practicality. In fact, it was quite detailed, and this is no exception for this Honda Civic. Okay, this is detachable. You get this storage underneath, and I wonder if it's extendable. Is it? No, it's not. Okay, so the central console storage is average for a C-segment car, but in my opinion, it's actually bigger than I was expecting. It's good. It's very good. And this is adjustable, so you can choose to put this here or here. Let's put it here. Yeah, it's quite pleasant, but you know what? We'll put it where we found it. Let me just put it gently. There we go. Nice central console feel, by the way. This is a nice armrest. I like that. Now, let's look at the glove box, guys. Oh, alrighty. So, the glove box is occupied by the manual. And if you get rid of the manuals, you get extra space. You know what, guys? Somehow I knew that practicality was not going to be a very strong point for the Honda Civic, and I was right about that. Look at this. So, certainly a big water bottle will not fit in there. And, well, there's space for a small bottle, but the door bin is just not big enough. I was expecting it to be until here, but it's just halfway. This has to be one of the smallest door bins I've ever seen for a C-segment car, let alone 36,000 euros. But is it that questionable or not? You all be the judge, because so far there were lots of goodies in this interior, but I had a feeling that practicality was not going to be that great. Or probably I'm saying this because I had the same feeling about the last generation Honda Civic. Guys, great news. You guys get electric front seats. And when I say electric front seats, I actually mean it, literally. So, electric seating adjustment here, and electric seating adjustment for the passenger, the front seat passenger. Now, this has to be the first time I've ever seen this for a C-segment car of 36,000 euros. It's very generous. Guys, this is the rear seat of the Honda Civic, but let's just take one moment to admire the squidginess of the seat. Like, look at this. It's very soft. This thing is literally a couch. I have a lot of legroom. Legroom is a bit limited at the edge, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. It all depends on the seating adjustment of the driver and the front passenger, but it should not be a big deal. Otherwise, knee space is very good. All right, guys, despite having a panoramic sunroof, I have a lot of headroom. Now, that's because there's actually some... this was done deliberately for additional headroom. Wow, Honda actually thought about us. Literally. Okay, the headroom is good, but the headrest is rather firm. Oh no. Why are all the headrests always firm for every car? Oh well, who cares? I'm gonna tell you all something that is not firm. The seating, guys. As soon as I sat in this car, I felt like I was in a couch. I mean, I was literally sinking in the seat. Like, literally, it's just so comfortable. I love it. It's so good. And then also, if you want to feel like a... Oh, okay. This is your armrest. I wanted to pull it out quickly, but... it's just... Oh, right, you have to get... Oh, I think you have to put it like this. Oh, that's why you don't get a strap to pull it down. All right, let's do it with style, guys. Okay, not too fast, guys. But, this car forces you to be, you know, like, just be cool. Don't, you know, be not in a luxury car, like... Just do it with coolness, guys. Do it with ease. Relax. You're not in a Maybach or something. Okay. All right. Jokes aside. So this is your armrest, guys, and it's really nice. It's quite squidgy, by the way. It's pleasant, and you get 2 cup holders in there. Wow. Very nice. But you do get USB points right here, and you do get air vents right here. So you are in comfort still. Yay. And if practicality is your concern, guys, no worries. You get rear seat pockets on both seats. Really, really good. And you get this nice door bin, which is... I'd say it's average for a C-segment car, but a little bit smaller than average. Okay, let's put it this way, a bit smaller than average. But otherwise, you get this little storage space, which doubles as a handle to pull the door closed. And the leather feel is really pleasant, and I love this trim right here, guys. The exact same trim I saw at the front. Really, really nice. And piano black right here. Wow. I don't know if it's just me, or maybe this applies to other C-segment cars. There's a big elevation right here compared to the floor. So every time I leave the car, I have to constantly lift my foot way up in the air. So like this, guys. A beacon of hope lightings up there. You get a coat hook right here and a handle right here. How generous is that? Now comes the special part, guys. I have to explore the boot space of the Honda Civic. All right, everyone. So over here is the boot space of the Honda Civic. So this is a unique system by Honda, and it's the exact same equipment or accessory which I saw in the last generation. And now over here is the boot space, guys. It's actually quite spacious, and I believe it's adjustable. Please excuse me if I'm wrong, guys. It's very nice, very nice. So, beacon of hope lighting, and then you get a 12-volt socket right here, and you get hooks at the back, like right here, and oh, nowhere else. Oh well, you could always use these hooks. Tether points right there, and then you get white tether points right here, guys. Very nice.
So here's my conclusion of the Honda Civic, everyone. This Honda Civic is a new chapter for Honda, because this is the first time we see some unique things about Honda. Honda has actually gone down a unique path. They actually have started showing some identities in their car, some ambience, some sense of passion, guys. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like this car is actually more relatable than ever. Like literally. This was the first time I've ever shown more enthusiasm about the engine than ever. Because usually I don't talk about engines. They're boring to me. The engines are just, like covered in plastic, and everything is wires everywhere, mechanical parts everywhere. But this engine of the Civic is very precise, very detailed. I loved it, guys. The interior is beautiful. Beautiful. It's like opera. It's like, I don't know what to say, guys. Very classic. And for such a cheap price of 36,000 euros, who does that? Who? Nobody. Honda has done something no mass market brand has dared to do with a 2-liter hybrid petrol engine, guys. Wow! How many goodies in one go? For a price of 36,000 euros, is this Honda Civic good value for money or not? You know what, guys? This Honda Civic is excellent value for money. One of the best value for money C-segment cars out here in the market. Big step ahead, very desirable, and I can go on forever, guys. This Honda Civic is, I'm inclined to use the word perfect, but since nothing is perfect, I will just say it's one of the best value for money C-segment cars you can find here in the EU market. And perhaps elsewhere, like in the North American market. Besides, this thing grew in the North American market, but it actually looks Japanese. It looks more Japanese than ever. My opinion of this Honda Civic. Oh, I love it! I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Has to be the most desirable Honda Civic ever. This has to be the most desirable C-segment car ever. It's really, really good. And this has to be the first time Honda has done something new. This is why earlier I stated that this is a new chapter for Honda. And you know what this means? There's a big chance Honda is going to start applying this method with other Honda models. This is exactly what I was craving for, guys. Identity, a bit of passion. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. And don't forget to check the links in the description for my car reviews, travel videos, and my creativity videos. And before I go, I have a question to ask you all. What is your favorite hatchback? Your favorite C-segment hatchback? Is it the Honda Civic? Is it the Volkswagen Golf? Is it the Ford Focus? Leave your comment in the comment section. All right, take care, and I'll see you all around. Bye.